everyone on the Omnichannel podcast. Welcome back to the podcast. Have you ever been a friend or had a friend who had something catastrophic happen to them? Let's say a boy problem. And the minute it happened to you or your friend, your first instinct was that I need to call my bestie. I'm sure this is a very common phenomenon, especially with females, because when things happen to us, we sometimes or most of the times feel this urge to kind of discharge it, to call a friend, to tell them what happened, to kind of rant about a situation. The thing is, when this happens, and I want to take the friendship example, and I'm going to explain to you what is underneath. And then we're going to move into a business context because, we are entrepreneurs here, but I wanted to kind of bring a little bit of context around it so you guys can understand and spot this really quickly. There is some sort of event that is triggering dysregulation in our brain, and that dysregulation is actually then moving on to action. So dysregulation, action. So event happening and reactivity. And when we can't contain really well, what happens is that there is no in-between processing, right? So something is happening to you, you don't pause to process what just happened, to kind of like breathe, regulate, but you immediately jump into, I have to tell Susie about this. Sometimes even that thought of like, let me just sit with this and let me just think, okay, what do I feel here? And let me try to metabolize just, this is a lot. And let me pause before I call Susie. Like that reflex in the middle is completely offline, is missing. What happens is Susie, your friend, who might not have the capacity to hold your emotions and help you talk it through because she's also had a bad day. And many times when we are reactive, and this is very common, you guys, I'm not judging, but I'm just telling you and explain to you what it looks like. But many times when we don't have the ability to hold our own emotions and our own needs and desires in our body, we turn off what I like to call dual awareness. Dual awareness is when you have an issue, but you also recognize that Susie had a bad day and maybe she has no capacity to listen to you. So when we have dual awareness, we are aware of what's happening inside of us, but we can also then keep the other person in consideration, what's happening inside of them in the given moment, right? So when we can contain really well, it means that we keep dual awareness online, so we don't just become emotional or reactive, but we're able to be like, let me hold this whirlwind of emotions, let me process, let me metabolize it. And once I worked with what's just happened with me, I can recognize whether or not is this a good time for me to talk about it with Susie, like what's up with her right now. When we have dual awareness, we're able to, even under dysregulation, we're able to still think like, okay, I feel dysregulated, first of all, awareness. I feel extremely dysregulated right now. I feel like I need to talk to someone to kind of process it through. But I recognize that right now, they cannot meet me there when they are already signaling overwhelm. And I can pause just enough to ask, okay, what's going on for you? Oh, okay, so right now you're busy? Okay, no problem. Let me talk to you another time. And that should be okay. But there's recognition of course, like I have my needs, but I can hold it. And maybe let's find another time. And maybe it's good that I'm sitting with my emotional turbulence for a little bit longer, that I can sit with ambiguity a little bit longer, that I don't have to discharge it immediately. I can maybe metabolize it a little bit, and I can maybe turn this into poetry, That's kind of my way of being. If I write something poetic, it's probably because I metabolized something and I distilled something. Now it's like poetry there. Their internet. Okay, so that's dual awareness, and that is containment. So containment means, to me, I can hold my own needs, emotions, and desires in my body. I can sit with ambiguity. I'm not acting out of anxiety, and I'm not asking you to manage my emotions for me, and that should be okay. And containment also means that you have awareness of how the other person is. Can they hear me? Can they receive me? What's their context? And based on their context, you're able to then recalibrate, modulate. Like, okay, you know what? I get your context. Right now, it's actually, you can't even hold space for me because you also have something else going on. Like right now, you're at capacity. Your bandwidth is full. I recognize that. And I'm not going to bring all of this to you. I might sit with it more, or I find someone else who has capacity for me in the given moment. So your needs do not disappear because right now I'm dysregulated and I need you right now. I'm aware of your needs and mine, and I can hold my needs if you can't meet them right now, and that's okay. So how does it come in business context? For example, you want clients, or there is a launch that is not working out the way you want it, or there's someone stalling decision making. So what happens is that something happens, you get dysregulated, you have a need, and you immediately react and you act. And that's when urgency comes, pressure comes, that's when scarcity comes, like you gotta come now or else, right? We resort to pressure because we cannot contain anxiety. We are reactive in a way, right? And so instead of thinking, okay, I have wants, needs, and desires, I'm able to hold it for myself. I'm not going to make it your problem, and I'm going to see what's up with you. I have dual awareness on what is your circumstance and situation, and I'm able to modulate and calibrate whatever my needs are. Because it's not about suppressing your needs, wants, or desires. It's about holding that in your body so that it doesn't come out leaking on another person. It doesn't come out sideways in pressure. There is a difference between you having your own center of gravity and you able to hold your own emotions, and then you speak from that, and regardless of what they say, you're still okay, versus I have to have a certain response for you to be okay about myself, my business, how I feel about myself. Like, that is a huge difference, right? So when we are able to hold and contain our own needs, wants, and desires, we are able to have awareness of what does this even make sense for you, right? Because remember, when we went to the friend example, we also said when our friends are frantic and they immediately go reactive mode, let me discharge this, then they lose awareness of whether or not you have capacity, whether or not what's going on for you, what are your needs and wants in the moment, can you guys meet halfway? The same goes into business as well. Let me turn to you grounded and see if that makes sense for you. Because I can hold this, like, yes, I have needs. Like, I want this to work out. I'm excited about the launch. I'm excited about the product or service that I'm bringing to the marketplace. I can feel all that, but I don't need you to validate that for me in order for me to be okay, because I can hold it. And there is something very interesting that has been happening to me and in my observations, because I consider myself as someone who can contain really well. And it doesn't mean that I don't feel ambiguity, that I don't feel anxiety, or I don't feel all the emotions. You feel it, but you're able to sit with it. You're able to process it. And you can also just stop yourself from being reactive in the moment, because you never lose access to an awareness of the other person in the moment. What I've noticed is that those people, I'm actually very much happy to give and go like, you know what, let me help you hold this. Naturally, we want to help them more. We want to lean in. We want to give them, because we know that they're not going to pull on us. They're not going to drain us, right? So this is a big conversation, and this is one conversation we are having inside of the Art of the Approach as well. And containment is part of our curriculum, and so is pacing. So if you want to come in for the program, you still can, whenever you're watching it, because all the modules I'm delivering inside of the program, they are available for you on replay. You can still come into the program. I'm going to put a link for you to register. The Art of the Approach is about who you are when you're approaching people, and that version of you. How does it shape people's experience and expectation of you? Like how it will be to be in business relationship with you, even before any transaction happen. And containment, even before business relationships, even after, even during, within, after, it's always the underlying mental state that you kind of need to master. But there are just so much more we talk about inside of the Art of the Approach. So you can still come in for the Art of Reapproach no matter when you're watching this video. I'm going to put a link for you guys to register. Once you register, you will receive an email, and in that email you will get access to a Facebook group where you can find all our modules of the program. I hope this was helpful for you nonetheless, and now you have a little bit more awareness on what containment is, and you become much more mindful of how you come across interpersonally and in business as well. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this one, and I'll see you guys very soon.